Hello and welcome to Punk Rock Academic, the podcast where the rebellious spirit of punk rock meets the halls of higher education. We dive into the stories of those who break the mold, challenge the status quo, and bring the DIY ethos to academia. I'm Alex Yore, and with me as always is Dallas McCulloch, your guide through the intersection of anarchy and academics. Get ready to meet the professors, scholars, and students who are as hardcore about their studies as they are about their music. Let's turn up the volume and tear down the walls of convention. This is Punk Rock Academic. Okay, Punk Rock Academic, Episode 6. Today we have Dr. Greg ChanceTaylor, PsyD. He's a doctor of clinical psychology, currently finishing up his residency in Portland, Oregon. He got a BA in psychology from the New School and his PsyD from Pacific University. Like many drummers, Greg has played in a lot of bands. He toured and recorded an album with Mischief Brew on Jello Biafra's alternative Tentacles label. He also played in The Holy Mountain, a no-idea band from the early aughts. Most recently, he's played with MakeWar on the Fat Wreck Chords label. Quite the impressive resume, Doctor. Let's get into it.
So, Gregory ChanceTaylor, correct?
Correct.
Sorry, Dr. Gregory ChanceTaylor. As of when did you get your PsyD?
Last summer. Yeah, 2023.
Right, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. Props on that. So, your terminal degree, that's what's psych practice versus research, or what's the actual terminology for it?
Yeah, it's a PsyD, so Doctor of Psychology, rather than PhD, so Doctor of Philosophy in Psychology. The difference being that PsyDs are more, clinically focused. We still had all the pleasure of a dissertation, none of the pleasure of a stipend, you know? So, yeah.
So it was all out of pocket.
Well, out of the feds, which I'll likely never pay back. But,
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
Understandable.
But essentially.
That's rad. And then musically, obviously, we're here talking about punk rock shit. What bands have you been probably the most? You're a drummer, so every drummer's played in a million fucking bands, obviously.
Yeah.
So what's some of you got on the resume that are?
Yeah, well, I think most recently, MakeWar, who you are out with now, right?
They are getting drunk on a patio right over there in Wiesbaden, in Germany. Yes.
There you go. Yeah. So we would have been together not too long ago, right? Which we did in previous tours. I did all but their newest record with them. Before that, probably another big band was The Holy Mountain. It was like a no idea band in the early aughts, kind of like D-beat crossover kind of heavy punk shit. I did a record and some tours with Mischief Brew, which is kind of like anarcho-folk punk, and various others along the way. But I guess those are some of the bigger names.
We'll build up to that, because you got a lot of cred being with bands on, Fat Wreck, fucking alternative Tentacles with Mischief Brew, right? No idea.
I'm not sure who put them out, yeah.
Okay. You're like
typical drummer. You don't...
I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Exactly.
Hit the circle. But so ultimately, what's your initial exposure to music, just in general?
Oh man, I don't know.
Did your parents listen to music?
Yeah, totally. I think I grew up with my folks listening to all kinds of music and like dancing, dancing around the living room and just sort of playing around. I took piano lessons when I was a kid, and I hated it. Yeah. I remember I got my drums for my 11th birthday, and just I don't want to do piano anymore. I want to do drums. And now, of course, I regret not knowing piano. But but that was the switch. Let's see. When I was a kid and I first got into it, my sister was sick at the time. She had cancer in childhood and now recovered and is fine and living in the UK doing her thing. Also has a master's degree. But at the time, I think it was like really good medicine for me to have this instrument and to like put my focus and just beat the shit out of it, and it also overlapped with, I was going through a phase where I was going to like youth group and shit. It was a short-lived phase, but I think it was good at that time for me. And I started playing drums with church groups. And like on Sunday morning, I would get up and have a big mohawk and play in front of the congregation.
So was that kind of your initial exposure to kind of the punk rock or alternative music scene from like kind of the Christian punk scene?
I don't know if it was my initial exposure, but it was like, it was in there. You know what I mean? When I was sort of getting started. Yeah.
Do you remember your first show? Like going
God.
to like see like a punk or metal or hardcore or whatever sort of band?
Well, I think my first show was my first show was New Kids on the Block when I was a kid with my sister and her babysitters and shit. My first kind of punky show, I think, was at the State Theater in St. Pete. I want to say it was like the Vandals and Against All Authority.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
It was a kind of a good combo. I can't remember who else was on it, but
Right.
I think I was probably in like 8th or 9th grade, and I was just like, what magical world is this?
That was like All Fall Down era, Against All Authority.
Totally. Yeah.
And that's like, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, pre-internet, it was hard to find out about this shit. Like, Against All Authority was singing about, like, here's a song about Mikhail Bakunin, here's a song about Sacco and Vanzetti being, like, executed by the state. Like, it was punk for guys that know how to read. It wasn't just, like, pissing in a 40 and spray painting anarchy signs. It's like, these are fucking nerds.
Well, that's it, man. I mean, I think that for me, like, what you guys are doing is, like, how has nobody had this thought before? It's such a good thought. There's a lot of crossover. To me, it was always, let's read theory, right? Let's go. We're playing in info shops, dude. Read what's happening. Read what's on the wall. So it was people that were more. It was more of like an intellectual side of punk that I think, not necessarily from Against All Authority. Certainly not the Vandals, probably, but
No.
Hitler
bad, Vandals good. I mean, that's a political statement right there.
Meat and cheese only. Don't fuck Anarchy Burger, right?
Hold the government.
Hold the government, please. Yeah.
So when you started getting into, I guess, going to these shows, you were what, like middle school age?
Probably, 8th grade, 12, 13, 14.
Now, what kind of student were you? Like, were you just like, I'm punk as fuck now, I got a mohawk, fuck school? Or was it like you were still doing well?
No, I was a bad student, man. No, my mom was a teacher. So I was fucked, right? School comes first. Yeah, I was like a super ADHD kid. So another reason I had to play the drums. I was kind of a crap student. I think C's and D's. I was really ambivalent to school, especially in high school, because it wasn't anything that I wanted to learn about. I was a very curious kid, but this was nothing. This wasn't that. You know what I mean? It was like public school in Florida, man. It was like the basketball coach was the world history teacher who would just like, we used to just, he would just like read the chapter and just start reading the sports page. So we'd have to just write the answers from the book at the end of the chapter. We would just write them in complete sentences and give them back to him. And he would just see that there were many words on this page and give you an A.
Right.
Totally checked out,
So, you managed to graduate from high school, early 2000s, and then you started touring instantly, or were you starting to gig out when you were already in high school?
Yeah. I graduated 2002. I was already playing shows all through high school. And then, so I forgot to add on the resume. I think I hold this one back a lot, but I first started touring with this band called From First to Last. Mm-hmm. That became like a whole thing.
Did the singer of that band happen to turn into any sort of famous celebrity afterwards?
Yeah, right. Like some DJ dude, right? What's his name? Skrillex? Yeah.
Skrillex, yeah.
Skrillex, yeah. I met him once before he was Skrillex. in like a billion years after I had anything to do with them. But yeah, I think I was probably 18 or 19. It started to do like van tours. Um, yeah, it was tough, super fun. House
So
shows
with
mostly.
that being, like more kind of the anarcho kind of folk punk kind of radical lefty sort of thing. So you found yourself like punk houses and like DIY, like much more so like the with $3 donation please, and you're eating dumpster like vegan chili from some crust punk sort of dude. That scene.
A bit of both. I mean, yeah, definitely it was that with Holy Mountain where I did most of my touring. Um, yeah, very. We circle our vowels. Anarcho crusty punk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Holy Mountain, that was shortly after the From First to Last, or like how old
Yeah.
were you when you started touring with them? Because that was like,
I think
I mean,
19.
okay. And the connection I knew about that band being from West Michigan is North Lincoln, being Grand Rapids boys. They were on No Idea at the same time. I know you had toured with them a fair amount,
Yeah, for sure.
right? And those guys were fucking awesome. But I mean,
Yeah,
very opposite ends of, they were more that like jawbreakery thing, and you were like a fucking straight up like just heavy fucking crusty double blast beat sort of dudes.
for sure. But that was the cool thing about that era. And I think maybe one of the cool things about No Idea, right, is that it used to be more crossover. There
Yeah,
would be a show with like an emo band or some kind of indie emo band, and then like a grindcore band, and everyone was like just checking out both. It was totally
yeah.
fine. North Lincoln dudes are great. I got my nose pierced on that tour a million years ago, crashing with them and swimming in homie's parents' pool or something. I don't
John
know.
Massels,
Yeah,
Granville, Michigan, the outskirts of Grand Rapids. Yes,
totally. I
yeah,
remember that. Yeah,
that's
good
fucking
guys.
awesome. So, so you were touring with, I mean, them for quite a while, and then at what point did you wind up going to community college?
Yeah, so I kind of like wanted to have my cake and eat it too, right? I just kind of pulled both threads simultaneously, but I just did it slowly. So I started community college. It was St. Petersburg College. I think they eventually they ditched the community part. They started offering bachelors, so they're like, we're the real deal now. But it was totally a community college, and I would like go for a semester, and then I would take off for a semester and tour.
Hmm.
And so it took me like 4 years to do my associates, which I stopped there as like a bookmark. But it kind of worked out perfectly because at the end of like finals, first of all, it became interesting because I would pick classes that I wanted to take. So it was a very different approach than I felt in high school. I was just exploring. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was just taking stuff that sounded cool, which made me more willing to put in effort. So it started to become kind of cool and something that I was okay at. Um, by the time the semester was ending, I was always like toasted, and I just wanted to. Oh God, I got to get the fuck out of here. I can't stand a schedule anymore. So I'd get in a van and I'd travel and
Hmm.
just get rowdy for months. And then after 3 months in a van, holy shit, I'm so much dumber. I gotta go. I need structure. I need a schedule. And it would sort of just carry on like that for many years.
Yeah. And then, so you said once you hit the associates, then you kind of coasted for a while. That was like a save point in a video game. Like,
Totally. That's exactly what it was. It was like, okay, I'm going to tap out for a little while longer now. And I moved to New York at that time.
mhm.
So, um, yeah, Holy Mountain had been touring a shit ton through the States and Europe, and just trying to multitask. And then, I don't know, I think I was 23 or 24. I think I just turned 24. I moved to Brooklyn in 2008. So I just sort of jumped into that whole world and that whole scene, and just sort of got lost at the party for a couple of years. Then ultimately started at the New School and finished my bachelor's there in psychology and philosophy.
So Alex, the part about if playing in bands to get your associates and then just fucking coasting and going on tour for years. Does that sound moderately familiar?
That's about how I did it. Yeah. When I moved to Portland, I just sort of like gradually went to community college and then was like playing in a bunch of bands and touring, and then and exactly did the same thing. Bookmarked it with the associates, and then took off on tour after that. So.
Yeah, man, you don't have to do all or nothing, right? Like you could do the opposite of Ron Swanson's advice, like to half-ass two things instead of whole-ass one thing, right?
It's a power move right there, man. That's fucking deep. I like that shit. So
I
you
just
got to
went
New
through
York.
that whole series again. The whatever Parks and Rec. Sorry, man.
So New York then. So it's just a liberal arts like associates or something. Is what you got for the community college?
Yeah, just I don't even remember.
Then,
just sort of generic. Yeah, you did good enough, man.
Yeah. So what was it that you studied at the new school?
At the new school, I did psychology, and I say minor in philosophy, but I don't know if it was even official. I just took a lot of great sounding courses in continental philosophy.
And by the time you were in that, you finished your what, 30 something, early 30s?
I think late 20s.
Yeah.
Probably 28 or 29
right.
when I finished. I want to say 2012. So I was probably 28 when I finished.
Yeah. And was it definitely the same situation where there's a lot of like, let's say 19-year-old, kids in your classrooms and you're thinking like, I just hung out a bunch of anarcho squats in fucking Italy or, I don't know. It's just like, it's not relatable sort of thing.
Well, it was both. I mean, it definitely had that flavor. There were younger kids, kids that were going straight into it, who didn't have any of that sort of lived experience. But at the same time, it was, first of all, it's just, I think, and thought at the time that it was a very punk college, the new school. They literally hosted like an international anarchist symposium while I was there. And I had many professors that were speaking at it. And I was like, this is the shit. This is praxis right here. It was an energy though, because at that time was when Occupy Wall Street was going on, right? 2011 and 12. So when there were moments of calm and we were just sort of going about our business, it did sometimes feel like that, I was an older guy so picking up junior year, right, essentially, to finish the undergrad. So I was in there with 19 and 20-year-olds for sure. But it was also I was taking classes where we were reading Bakunin, right? So coming back around to the Against All Authority days, right? It was just a cool place, I think, and a cool time to be at that place. So it really like lit something up in me, and I was like, holy shit. Maybe school it really shifted my whole thinking about school and made me start to fantasize about graduate school and about like that I could have a place here in this world,
Yeah. And that was a BA and that was psych?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But new school, I mean, it's kind of notorious as being like a lefty sort of bastion.
Very much.
Right. Which is cool. And then, so you finished that 2012-ish or something, right? 2013? Yeah. And then were you playing in bands at that time as well? Or like leading up to that, or?
I had a couple bands, I think, here and there. I think nothing that, not more than a couple shows. Nothing was really going on there for me at the time. I did 2 years straight. So I think trying a different, larger modules than my on a semester, off a semester. So it was exciting. So it satiated me in a way that I wanted to focus on it a bit more.
So then sometimes, the way that I know you originally, I mean, after I met you, I found out that you were in the Holy Mountain. I was like, oh, that's cool. But was from, MakeWar, who I'm currently in Germany tour managing right now, and I'm fucking babysitting these idiots and need you to help wrangle them. But anyways, they're busy being a fucking grown-up, and they're fucking drinking Mexicaners on a patio. And
That's what happens,
That's what fucking happens. But so when did you start playing with those guys?
Not too long after I graduated. I spent probably, I didn't start grad school until 34. So there was a big gap of years there where
Right.
I finished and I was like, okay, I was chasing this carrot. I was totally satiated by this and I felt great. And then it's like, well, what now?
Yeah.
What do I do? So I fell back into what I know, just playing music. I met Jose at a Valentine's Day party, actually. Right.
Very romantic.
Yeah, very romantic from the start. And we were both there, I think on dates, but just ended up hanging out with each other the whole time and talking about music. And then we started playing together shortly after that. This is when the band was still set in French and they were doing like a very different vibe. It was very
and Edwin he was on bass already at that point.
Yeah, stand-up bass. So it was those two doing, really great songs, but a very different energy. And we just started playing music together, and it turned into kind of what it is now.
Right. So with MakeWar, I know there was the set in French stuff, but then there's the first full length that you were on. But it was the second one is when you got picked up by Fat Records, which was like a pretty serious fucking jump up, I would say, as far as some level of notoriety. And I think it's when I met you guys, or when I toured with you guys in 2018, where you're out with the Lillington. So it's like that's some fucking pop punk royalty right there. You're about to put shit out on Fat, like you're in Europe, often getting some like some pretty legit shows that you're able to get at that point. Which is, and I guess it's kind of funny because I know you'd been playing in bands forever at that point, and but never like I feel like it was more kind of coming from that crusty sort of DIY scene, and not that Fat, it's not Fat Records. It's not like it's the fucking man, but it's like it's still owned by a dude in a dress, with a blue mohawk or whatever, who's may or may not be doing cocaine, but. But it's certainly like there's catering and shit, you're sleeping in beds and it's kind of stepping it up. So, but by that time it was like you had fucking put in 15 years of playing in some level of punk bands or something. And then like all of you guys were 30 and had college degrees by the time you got picked up by Fat, right?
Yeah, actually. So when I moved out to Portland with my now wife for grad school. And during that first year of classes, before the clinical sort of practicum and like actually learning to do therapy, the first year was just classes. And I was traveling, not a lot back and forth, but I flew out to New York to play like flew out to Florida to meet them to play like the fest, and then flew to New York to record Developing a Theory of Integrity. So I was like already living in Portland and flew out to do the second record, Developing a Theory of Integrity. I was living in New York to do, what's it called? The second one.
The one with Jose on,
Baby Jose
was a child.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm their tour manager. I should know this. I don't do merch on this tour. Hold up.
Oh, dude.
You're the drummer of the Get It Together.
Get it together. Yeah, this is a message for us right now.
How do we not know this? You're the drummer and I'm the tour manager on this shit.
Yeah, this is why.
School has ruined our brains, man. We've got a lot of education since that shit came out, bud.
I have a lot of other things cramming up my mind. So anyway, I'd flew to New York to do that record with them, and then Jose was like kind of shopping it around, I guess, beyond just Red Scare with Toby, who I thought we were going to go with. And then all of a sudden I'm like in class. I found myself in class, kind of half watching the lecture and then half just farting around on my laptop and reading over this like Fat contract, like while in class. I'm like, what a fucking weird world, man. What is happening right now?
And it's got to be, obviously growing up in the punk rock scene, like that's I mean, they put out, you're from Florida, fucking Less Than Jake was on there, Against Me was on there. I mean, obviously No Effects and Lagwagon and fucking Me First and the Gimme Gimme's, like the absolute biggest names that exist within that scene that, didn't go to a major.
Yeah, it felt like a cool kind of, okay, I grabbed that brass ring too, and now I'm going to bail. You know what I mean? Like a parting gift, because it sucked that I was stoked to be doing what I was doing, but of course very ambivalent about the idea of like putting away music for a while. Like I said, these sort of modules of time that I stayed away from music are getting bigger and bigger, and now into like a doctorate program. So 6 years, I'm doing my postdoc residency now. So still not totally out the door. So I got the degree. Yeah.
That's in Portland that you're doing that now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Back in Portland, I moved to San Francisco for a year to do my internship at this cool psychoanalytic community clinic called Access Institute. So I think they're also like very cool kind of punk ethos of like that poor folks or students or working class folks also deserve like a deeper dive into psychology, like that they also have unconsciouses and not just needing to do very surface level skills based stuff. No, not dissing that stuff, but like it's super important, but like also you can go deeper. It's not just for affluent people. That's the bad rap it has, right? So I thought this was a cool approach, that it was like a radical alternative, sort of community psychoanalysis.
Then where was that in San Francisco?
It was in Hayes Valley.
Okay.
Which apparently is a cool neighborhood that it didn't used to be. I was just there for a year, so I don't really know too much. And I was just in it the whole time. So I didn't really learn my way around too much.
Gotcha. So at that time, you were not playing music basically at all?
No, I mean, I cherry picked a few gigs with MakeWar. I flew over back to the East Coast a handful of times to play a few shows. And that's it. I've just been on the grind. Got married and doing the doctorate thing. I'm like, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm studying for boards right now to get licensed. And then it's like, I see a version where I come out the other end and I might have time to start playing in local bands again. Probably no more touring, but I'm just going to be in an old dude local band.
That's pretty fucking rad. But it was cool. I mean, so with MakeWar, obviously after you, they had a couple different drummers.
Yeah.
That didn't work out. And now they got Alejandro, who is a fucking hard hitter, and that dude's rad. I think he's going to be around for a long time. But it was awesome. I remember after the last drummer was out, like, oh, by the way, Greg's flying in. It was used that photo that I took of you guys partying in Hamburg at the booze cruise.
Oh, yeah.
We're shooting. So it was a river barge for the listeners. MakeWar's playing a set on this river barge in the Elbe River in fucking Hamburg, and people we're shooting dice and just fucking raging. I crowd surfed out. I'm like, please don't throw me over.
On a boat. Yeah,
on a fucking boat. Yeah. It's that was fucking wild. But I remember seeing that photo. I'm like, holy shit, Greg is doing shows again, or like, almost Dr. Greg at this point. Because it's like, I mean, it seems kind of like riding a bike.
It is, man. I mean, it's all kind of coming around. Actually, I just had my 40th birthday on the 7th and was in New York to see the boys just before they left for tour. And some of the, the OG buds that I've known for a million years, some also are some Holy Mountain dudes that live in New York now. And the singer of that band flew in and we had a practice. We're going to play some festival in November. So it's like...
wait, are you sure you don't mean the end of October?
I don't know. Did you find it online? Because
no, I meant the fest. I'm like, because I'm going to be at fest.
Oh no, but it would fit that you actually checked and know more than I do.
Yeah. Fucking drummers.
I know.
No, that's rad. I also remember being on tour a couple years ago when I was tour managing MakeWar. We were out with Wilhelm Scream and Brendan Kelly.
Yeah,
and we stayed with you in Portland, which I thought was fucking cool because it's like you're living like a, pretty fucking normal, like domestic, whatever sort of cool fucking life there. But like, you're like, hey, my shitty punk rock friends, come take over my living room and I will make you guys all vegan breakfast.
Yeah, it was great. Everyone got to hang
great.
out, and you all slept on the floor, and I got to go to my bed. It was the best.
Yeah. That's the Homer Simpson thing. Do you sleep in a race car? I sleep in a bed with my wife.
Yeah. Yep. So you guys got to have the race car. That's
But I was
stoked. COVID though. I caught COVID from going to hang out with you all on that at that.
And we dodged it, dude.
Time. Yeah.
But I was stoked that on that, our drummer at the time, Danielle, was cool enough that like you sat in on a couple songs, and I'm like, it's like, man, Greg hasn't touched fucking drumsticks in like 3 years. It's like, he's fucking fine. He's got this.
No, I was nervous about that, man.
Yeah, but you killed it, dude.
Yeah, it went well. It is totally muscle memory, right? Like that's why I brought up the Holy Mountain shit, because it's just like, we'll see how this goes. Those were way different drums too. Those were like fast and brutal when I was a younger and more pissed off dude. I'm like, I don't know if I can do it anymore. It's still in there, man. It's amazing. So whenever I play these shows with the MakeWar boys, I just sort of sat in, and I was nervous as fuck because I hadn't played the drums in so long.
And it was fucking packed really too. Well. That was a big show.
Yeah, with the Wilhelm Scream. And then I remember I played when Maddie was playing drums with them. They let me sit in for the Portland show with the Lagwagon Face to Face tour. So
how big is that room if you're playing with Lagwagon and Face to Face?
Oh, I don't even know. I can't remember the venue.
1,000, 2,000.
It was a big show.
Yeah, no shit.
A big show. They're used to playing these big shows now, but when I switched course, we weren't playing rooms like that. So all of a sudden, I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah. I could assure you. Let's say, well, whatever. There was 25 people last night and 1,000 the night before. They got both in them, and they'll fucking bring it either way. That's cool.
There you go. That's how you got to do it. Yeah,
that's legit. Yeah. So, okay, so you got one more year of actually having to do clinical until you're licensed, or?
Well, yeah. So I started in September, so I'm almost out the door, man. I'm just sitting. I'm studying right now, studying for the licensing exam boards that I'm taking in like 3 weeks, and then I have to just sort of keep logging hours under supervision, clinical hours. So I'm just essentially working full time.
Yeah,
I'm doing half Zoom sessions. So like today I'm at home, at my little home office doing Zoom sessions, therapy with folks. And then I do 410s. The other 2 days I'm in person. So after I finish this board exam, then I'm essentially just coasting into like October, and the residency contract is completed. Mm-hmm. With the board, and then I have to just wait around for them to meet and grant me licensure, and then I'm fucking chilling.
That's it.
No bosses.
No gods, no masters, no problems.
Yes. Oh, that was the shirt I had.
That was the shirt you had. That's the booze cruise.
Throwing the fucking hang 10. Yeah.
That's it, dude. With the palm trees and the anarchy sign. It was good.
Yeah.
So how do you feel that, I mean, I guess, being, let's say, you were punk as fuck when you're 14 or whatever, rocking the mohawk, whatever sort of shit, dude. Like, but it's like, but you're still in it. Like, you're still in that scene that, like, you still are that 14-year-old fucking shithead. Now you're a doctor. Mm-hmm. You're a married doctor in a fucking, like, you have a nice house with, like, soy milk and quinoa and shit, But, like, but how do those, how do you feel that those experiences of really growing up in this fucking DIY scene shape you as a professional who's working directly with people on something very meaningful like psychiatric help?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I really pull on, or sort of tap into, is probably the better way to say it. That sense of myself, like every day when I'm sitting in session with people, to me, it's so similar. I'm listening to people. I wrote this in my essay for internship, actually wrote about music a little bit, and how, as I'm playing the drums, I'm like, you're writing a song, right? I'm helping write, but I don't write the melodies. They're not coming from me. So people are throwing ideas in the air. And some stuff's not there yet, but you're listening to it. You're listening to what's not there yet. You're listening to what's in the room, and you're sort of piecing it together through dialogue, right? I mean, that's therapy, right? You're having a conversation, and you're going to all different places, and you're going to scary places, and you're going to sad places, and you have to be able to kind of trust that your therapist gets it, that they're in it with you. So I think the fact that I didn't, my mom was a public school teacher, my dad was a school bus driver, very sort of working class, and then a punk rock kid. So those ethics were already sort of there in my family, but then definitely instilled in me, like DIY, and sort of, I still consider myself an anarchist. So I try to be that, in my work. And I guess the DIY stuff, it just that I thought I could do it. It's just that I felt accessible, right? Mm-hmm. That it was just like, I remember learning to play the drums, and I would go to shows at like a skate park or something, because there's not really a stage, right? Or there was kind of a stage, but it was no big deal. And I would just sit on the side of the stage and just like watch whoever, some like local band, some kid that was 15, I was 13. I thought he was a god, right? And I would just watch and like daydream. And I think the fact that you're sort of invited into it, that it's not, now certainly in academia, there's a shit ton of hierarchy and nonsense, but there's also like, that's shifting. I don't know. And within psychology and psychoanalysis, that's totally shifting. Mm-hmm. So it feels like a cool thing that that I could try, that I could do messily and just go for it. You know what I mean? That I didn't have to be some fantasy version of it. And actually that serves me, that's like better. I feel like I'm a better therapist because I'm not, it's not just book learning. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like, and that's kind of a thing that all three of us have in common here we all grew up working class, like extraordinarily. And it was, I think from going to these shows, realizing like, I could fucking do that. Like it's
totally,
and I'm so used to like where we're from, everybody, you get a job at an auto plant, you marry the first person you hold hands with when you're 18, you give up on life at about fucking 30, and you die of a heart attack in your 50s. Like that's the fucking the standard protocol. Yeah. And I think from going just to see shitty, dudes that are a few grades above us playing the rental hall up the street from our high school, it's like, that's fucking cool. I could do that, and it's like, just knowing like it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be on fucking MTV. Like you can, there are other tiers beyond that shit of things that are still pretty fucking cool. And it shows you a whole nother world.
Dude, book your own fucking tour, right? I mean, that you just could,
right.
That's everything. To have something modeled for you, right? To have possibilities modeled for you when you feel like, okay, this is the script, right? I get a job at the factory, because there's nothing else modeled for you.
Right.
It allows you to fantasize. It allows you to daydream. That's everything.
Yeah. So, do you think if 13-year-old you wasn't going to these skate park punk rock shows, that it would be a drastically different trajectory for yourself or what you think is possible?
Oh my God. Yeah. I have no idea where I would be. It's so cliche to say like punk rock saved my life, but it's totally true. It's so true. I have no idea where I would be. I would just be like a pissed off Florida dude. So that's probably a bad thing if we look around. I don't know. I have no idea, man.
Right.
But I would have definitely been a diminished version.
Yeah. Also, Alex, you stole your line, dude.
I know. Yeah.
What's that? What do I do?
I say that all the time. Punk rock saved my life.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like, it's said for a reason,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially with the drums, right? So like I have patients sometimes that talk about wanting to buy the drums, and I'm like, dude, fucking do it. To literally have an 100%. Instrument that you play by beating the shit out of is such good medicine.
Mm-hmm. The doctor's orders are in. Everybody needs to hit some fucking circles.
That's it, man. That's it.
That's legit. Well, that's fucking rad, dude. I'm stoked to be able to, kind of talk on this. And it's just rad seeing other people kind of coming from the same thing of just like being a shitty student, not giving a fuck about school or whatever. It's like, yeah, but you go tour and you go fucking, you see the world and you learn some shit. And when you get done, you're thinking like, I could go for sitting in a classroom and learning some interesting shit right now.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of it being like a terrible thing that you have to avoid, it feels approachable, and even like that you kind of crave it a little bit. Plus, traveling, you just meet so many people with so many stories and so many.
Right.
So I think that that's a part also of sort of tapping into a sense of possibility, right?
100%. No, that's fucking rad, dude. Alex, you got any Portland related questions?
Well, actually, one thing that we completely skipped over, or
Oh, fuck.
unless I just completely missed it, is where did you do your PsyD?
Oh, fuck.
Oh yeah, we did. I went to a school called Pacific. It's in Hillsborough, actually.
Okay, yeah.
But we moved into Southeast Portland, and I just commuted because I didn't want to move all the way out west to Portland and then not
And Max
actually
goes
in
right
Portland,
there.
like a suburb. So I commuted like, I don't know, 40 minutes for classes and stuff to Pacific University.
Is that like, that's like a smaller school or like, is that private
Yeah, I
school
think
or public
so.
school? Or?
I mean, they have like an undergraduate campus, but the school that I went to, the undergrad campus is in like a different city, Forest Grove, a little further out, I think, further away from Portland. But the graduate school I went to was all of this sort of medical or quasi-medical programs, such as psychology. Yeah, it was pretty small.
And now, because you're from Florida, you lived in New York for years, obviously toured all over North America and Europe a million times over. How did you wind up at this like fairly obscure university in the outskirts of Portland?
I followed my wife. Yeah, we were both applying to different programs at the same time, and she totally redirected since then. But her first draft, she's now working on her doctorate in nursing to be a family nurse practitioner.
Fuck yeah.
But her first draft was that she got into this school called NUNM and was like naturopathic medicine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's only a few schools that offer that and that offer licenses, and only a few states, which is ultimately why she swapped, and a few other sort of, let's say, ideological reasons. But we were like,
Anti-vaccine
okay,
shit.
what's that?
Anti-vaccine shit or something.
For sure. Just like I think it hit with some of her punk sensibilities, but then like went a little too far.
Right.
So I think nursing was the sweet spot for her. But we're like, what are cool cities? What are punk cities where we should both apply? Where she has a program where they have a school for me and they have a school for her. And we both picked Portland and just applied only to these programs, and fucking both of us somehow got in, like throwing a dart at fate. So here we are.
Where is she doing her DNP program now?
OHSU. So big switch.
Yeah. No, that's rad though. But that's the same sort of thing. You gotta, you fuck around for a while and you figure out some cool shit. And you hopefully you learn from your fuck ups, and you just not even just fuck ups. You pivot and you make shit work better.
That's it, man. I tell her that all the time because I think once we all deferred for years and years and years to start graduate school. Even when I knew I wanted to do it while I was at the new school, I still waited 6 years before I actually tried to get my shit together to do so. Once you finally get locked in, you're on the track. So it's so easy, I think, to just stay on that train track and move forward. And so I think it was like really cool when she had that new data that actually this isn't totally what I thought it was.
Right.
To do such a radical switch, she took a year off. She panicked and regrouped. And I think that's so badass.
That's very cool. It's kind of relatable. Like I went through yoga teacher training, and it's
rad.
And I mean, this was after I got sober, and they started talking a little bit too much about magic crystals and shit. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to a real school. And it's like there are aspects of yoga that I think are fucking great, and within naturopathy too. There's some nonsensical, non-science founded shit, but like certainly addressing what you fucking eat, how you fucking live, what sort of relationships you have. That shit, that holistic approach is crucial. You can leave out the part about magic crystals and chakras and zodiacs and shit, but but there are some fucking solid ideas in there. But yeah, it seems like she's got a good situation coming out of that too, and that's cool.
Yeah, you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? But you do have to kind of
hits.
Yeah, get your bits and keep it moving, right?
That's rad. Well, sick. Well, Alex, you want to wrap it up with the last few questions? The standard 3. Everybody gets these.
Oh, okay.
What would you say is like a criminally underrated band? You know, a band that maybe should be a lot bigger than they are, or just, you know, way underrated.
That's a hard one.
It's harder than a doctorate, dude.
It is, man. This stuff's hard. I feel like they're kind of big, but I don't think they're big enough. I'm going to go Radioactivity.
I don't know anything about them. Tell me.
Dude. Apparently they do need to be bigger.
Yeah. So there it is. Look that shit up.
What kind of music are they? What's their story?
I think it's, I want to say it's some of the dudes or one of the dudes from Marked Men. So it's that really fast, kind of like,
lo-fi pop punky thing.
Yeah, just like that kind of groove, but I fuck with it big time. I'm like obsessed with this record. It's a couple years old. I listen to it all the time still.
I love the Marked Men, so it's worth checking out.
Yeah, Radioactivity.
All
right, question 2. Your desert island album. You're stranded on a desert island. You got an album, maybe a handful if you don't want to just narrow it down to one. You get a few. You know, what are your desert island albums?
This is impossible. I'm trying not to give you all too much dead air, but if this was in like a bar,
we'll cut it out.
He's gonna fix it in fucking post, dude.
Spin forever.
Post is where it's at, buddy.
Okay. Here we go. I'll have to give you a few. This is just what's happening for me right now. What's coming to the top of the head.
Right.
Well, clearly I'm throwing on the one I just said, Radioactivity, because that's just easy. It's just there, accessible to my mind. Okay, I think I need a few. If I'm on the desert, I need a few from a few different genres, right? That's the way.
That's fair.
You got to have your multitudes. I'm starting off, I'm going to go, His Hero Is Gone. I'm going, what's it called? 15 Arsons or something like that? Something like that. We have a fact checker. Dallas is on the case.
I don't know the cross scene that well. All right, American Neo cross band from Memphis. I don't know that much about cross, dude, but right on. So it's like a crusty kind of D-beat band or something, or
D-beat band. His Hero Is Gone. Yeah, so I'm going that. I'm going. I'm just thinking of like some of my favorite bands right now. Majority Rule. They're DC dudes. But I think, which record would I pick? Page 99 Split. I'm going Majority Rule, Page 99 Split.
So it's like that scramsy sort of like 90s screamo sort of thing.
Late, probably early aughts, but yeah. That vibe.
You're too cool for us, dude. I don't fucking know these bands.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, everyone else is like Minutemen and
everybody else is that's a lot of Minutemen, a lot of like fucking Op Ivy, just a low hanging fruit.
Well, I would say, okay, here's one that's just an obvious home run. Op Ivy's great, but I mean that's an easy pick for sure. I would say Solidarity with that, but I would go Out Come the Wolves.
It's a great fucking album.
You know what I mean? It's like, I think I was getting into both of those at the same time when in middle school. So they're sort of interchangeable, but I would go more controversial over here. I'm going more rancid over Op Ivy, more punk than ska-ish, right? But
it's got both. You got Maxwell Murder and Old Friend that are like polar opposite ends.
You got to have it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably some hip hop records. I don't know. 36 Chambers.
Can't go wrong.
Cash rules everything around. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite member of the Wu-Tang Clan?
I think it always used to be ODB when I was coming up, just because he was a wild card, and I identified with that. But I think maybe nowadays it's Ghostface, just because I liked all of his solo records so much.
There we go. I figured since you're an academic, you'd have to go with Method Man, because in the movie How High, he went to college.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Harvard specifically.
Yeah. Here's my because I'm an academic final record. Some compilation of Philip Glass, right? Philip Glass compositions, because I listen to it when I study, and it's the shit. It's very good piano music that I put on, and I listen to that more than punk nowadays a lot of the time.
Anarchy, up the punks.
Yeah.
All right. Question 3. So this one's a little bit easier. What's the last thing you listened to?
Okay, that's not like an audiobook or a podcast. Lil Sims, dude. I can't get enough of her. I think she's British. She's a rapper. I'll just put on her like radio, and I'm learning about a lot of cool new music. From though the Spotify algorithms are killing us all, they in the music world they also teach me about a lot of good bands and musicians. Lil Sims.
Well, you're teaching us about some bands that we need to look into, because I don't know my current British hip hop or like my 90s like fucking deep or my early 2000s scrams as deep as I should, apparently.
Got some homework to do.
Yeah, I know Rancid. We know how come the wolves.
There you go. Well, we'll all meet in the middle there. Yeah.
Fucking right, bud. Excellent. Well, then I think we're all good, Greg. It's a pleasure shooting the shit with you, and I'm sure we'll catch you before too long over next time we're on the West Coast.
Cool, man. Yeah, this is fun. Dallas, give my love to the boys. You're on a tour with them now. Alex,
they're
really
drinking right now.
Great to meet you, man. Thanks for being here.
Cool. Thanks for the invite.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Punk Rock Academic. We hope you're as inspired as we are by the incredible stories from the punk rockers revolutionizing higher education. If you enjoyed today's show, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow rebels. Stay tuned for more tales of academic anarchy and keep the DIY spirit alive. Until next time, keep rocking and never stop learning.